You know, if you looked at the growth, it's been pretty dramatic all the way along, but really accelerating in some ways. So it took us about 25 years to serve the first 100,000 families, and then 5 years to serve the next 100,000 families. And we want to more than double again in the next 5 years. And that's not because we want Habitat to be really big, but because we're not winning. You know, our ultimate goal is to eradicate poverty housing from the face of the earth. And we've grown really fast, but poverty housing is growing faster. And so as you look at what we need to do as a ministry, as an organization, we have to change in order to scale up, to be able to have the kind of impact. So it means not only changing some of our tactics, but also changing how we serve in communities. So our core principles aren't going to change a bit. The same mission, same ultimate goal, same core principles that drive Habitat and have driven it all the way along. But how we go about serving that mission has to change, because it's very different when you're building 50 houses than when you're trying to build 50,000 houses in 90-some countries around the world. And so we have to, it forces us to be a more professional organization, just because you need people systems as we get bigger and bigger to make sure that there's quality, and that in fact we can deliver to the needs of all these different people in so many different contexts. Habitat is sort of at its heart a simple idea. In execution, as in these 90-some countries, very complex. We're a development company, we're a builder, we're a social service agency, we're a fundraising machine. So there are all these things we have to do really well, and to coordinate the activity of these hundreds and hundreds of thousands of volunteers all over everywhere takes a lot of organization. And so I really like Jim Collins, in a little follow-up to his book Good to Great, what do you do for good to great if profit isn't a motivator? So if you're a not-for-profit group or a church or another kind of social service agency, what do you do? Do those principles still apply? And my view is they do. And I love what he said, which is, you know, a not-for-profit group shouldn't aspire to be a business, because most businesses aren't that great. But every group should aspire to be a great organization. And so what I have found is a lot of principles of how you lead and organize a large organization apply across all these different sectors. And we're very ambitious in what we want to get done in the next 5 years. If we're going to serve this huge number of additional families, it means we do have to do some things differently. We're going to partner much more than we historically have. So we can't do it by ourselves. We're going to work with other NGOs. We're going to work with governments. We're going to work with the private sector, because you really need that triangle, I think, of the private sector and the government support and the not-for-profit sector if we're going to have dramatic impact in communities. We can build a lot of houses by ourselves, but if we're going to really make communities transform, it takes a broader coalition. We're going to be more involved in recovery from disaster. That's something that we didn't really aspire to do, but from a human perspective, the people who have the least to begin with suffer the most when these disasters hit. So we're not going to become a relief agency, but we are going to come in behind and help the rebuilding of communities that get beaten down in disasters. We're going to have to mobilize new kinds of capital and financing, and create mortgage markets in places that don't have mortgage markets for the very poor. We're going to have to work on sustainability and advocacy. We're going to have to challenge our volunteers to not only come out and build, but also help change the conditions that cause poverty housing. And then probably on top of all of that, if we're going to have any chance of making it work, we've got to raise up a legion of great leaders across the world to make it happen. So we've got to invest in people development to help support all this growth. I think if you look at how we're growing now, we certainly will continue to grow into more countries over time, but our primary goal of the next round of growth is to have deeper impact in the places we're in. So our hope is to have a deeper impact. We're in so many places already. How do we make sure we're having a noticeable and sustainable impact in the communities in which we serve? And so we're trying to go both broad and deep with Habitat, and then look for those places where we can have the most impact.